Awesome. There we go. So we are recording. Let's just dive straight in here, and I'll break down what I've done so far and what we've got to do. All right. So here we go. So actually, let me unshare this. I'm going to share this, a different part where it's, because then I think I can pull up plugins and you can see a little bit more. Let's go over here. Alrighty then. Okay, let me just push play and I'm going to give me the thumbs up if you can hear it. Let me turn this off. All right, you guys can hear it. Very cool. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning now. I've already done a first. I already did one video on it already that will be up in the replay, so you can check out how I kind of made some of this stuff and how I kind of came up with some of these ideas. But just really quickly, kind of recapping. Um, Stranger Things drone tension is what it's going to be called, and the Stranger Things is almost it's almost more of a kind of a catch thing. It's not gonna We're gonna have a few little elements of like a stranger kind of things, but you could really just bundle this under drone tension. It doesn't have to have that super 80s kind of especially the arpeggiated stuff. It doesn't really have to have that, and that kind of does make it more a little bit more of that signature towards a Stranger Things drone tension. But we are going to go with a title like this to give it that kind of feeling for a lot of the tracks that would be in the kind of tracks that you would hear in the Stranger Things kind of show or movie. So okay, so it must include tension, duh. And how you get that tension is one little thing that I use a lot is, let's just say we're on the note C, and because it's a drone tension, you'll usually hang on the one notes. So you might be C, and then the very next note, which causes great tension, is like a C sharp, or you could go down to a B, but kind of like going to that and kind of even having them in like going over each other just really causes that tension, you know. And so that's something that's really worked well with a lot of tension, just creates that tension. And then of course I showed how in the first video, which I'll go over one time here as well, how I kind of made things kind of slowly pitch shift up as we go. And then it's got to have peaks and valleys. It can't be boring. It can't be boring. What about we change that? It can't be boring. So you got to make sure you add some bells and whistles, add some stuff that really kind of different things that are happening, so it doesn't get boring. And so always be asking yourself, is this getting a bit monotonous or boring or all kind of the same? You got to change it. Then you got to adapt things and have reverse sounds come in and wash them out with reverb, and you'll kind of see some of the stuff I did. 1 minute to 1.5 minutes to about 2.5 works fine. Because these are a little bit slower and they're kind of like long drawn out, you'll end up going way over 1.5 minutes, because it's, by the time you know, if you just get started, 1.5 minutes is pretty much over. So this one here, I'm looking at about it's about probably about 2:20, I guess, 2 minutes and 20 seconds, somewhere around there. And minor keys work best. So that is really cool. So if you guys are ready, copy this link. I'm going to copy this link down here. I can't play it in this video because they will flag it on YouTube. But copy this link and go have. I'm going to have to take a break for like 2 minutes to copy that link and have a listen to kind of the references, the reference track that we're really kind of going after. It's kind of a it's kind of a horror thing, but I'll give you guys like about 2 minutes. I'll just move around on my track. I won't start anything, but okay. So I put the link in the chat. Hopefully it came up there. Did it come up there? It should be on YouTube. It's the Hereditary soundtrack. It's a really cool track.
No, it's not in the chat yet, Steve.
Oh, okay, okay. Thanks. Okay. So I sent it to everybody in the waiting room, which no one's in the waiting room. All right, hang on. Try that. That should be there. Thanks for the happy birthday wishes. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Stan. Good to see Paul on the call. Good. How you doing? All right, so check out. I'll give you one more minute. Check out that track. All right, cool. So I'm gonna give you about a give you 10 more seconds left to keep listening to that Hereditary track. All right, cool. Okay, so let's head back. Okay, so you've obviously heard it, and it's pretty cool, isn't it? It's a pretty cool horror kind of tension, kind of um, really, yeah. It's kind of like got that, definitely got that horror kind of very deep and dreaded kind of sound. You know, it's definitely got that tension and and so that's kind of like more of the reference that we're kind of going for. Even though I do kind of want there's a small bit of as I said, Stranger Things elements in my mix, but not as many. Really, the capital this it should be really called really just under the drone. Um, Drone tension should be the more genre that it's called. So anyway, let's have a listen to my one. What I've got so far. Um, let's go. Let's from the top. like so it's a very long drone kind of thing, and I don't know if you guys could hear, but there's a kind of a lot of pitching things kind of going up and down and kind of moving around to kind of create some of that feeling or some of that emotion and tension, I should say. And then you'll see some of this automation in there. So definitely go back to that for part one and check out how I did some of those automations. I'm listening over here, and I've already pitch shifted this, and I'm actually going to redo it again because I don't like it. There's a bit of a gap in between here where it fades in and out, and I want that to be smooth, and I'll just swallow that. So it's too, I think I'm going to wash it out with some reverb, but I'm actually going to do a better one. And I'm going to pull down this really low and maybe just pan it to the left ear or way back in the mix. So it feels like, it feels like kind of like sirens, it's kind of a horror thing. So there's like sirens, there's crimes or whatever, all that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do here is actually, I'm going to pan it over pretty much in the distance. I'm going to pull it down. I'm going to put some reverb on it. I'm just going to copy one of these other reverbs down and just tweak it from there. But I'm going to pull it way down in the mix. I'm going to redo that to make it a little louder because I don't like how that came out. And then what I'm actually going to do too, I'm going to do just lots of automation in these kind of tracks. I'm going to fade in and then I'm going to fade out. So it's going to come in and then it's going to fade back out. So that's just that one there, but it's not really my favorite one, so I'm actually going to be doing another one, as I said. I'll just pull that down. So the actual track here is this one. This is just the one pitch. Just playing the whole time. It's down pretty low. So I just copied that. Now, one of the things I'm going to do is I'll just glue that together. Yeah, Stan, I see your question there. How often do you get these placed? A lot, a lot. They're pretty easy to do. You can do these pretty easy, and they need them a lot. They need them a lot, and so the trick is not having cheap sounds. The trick, I think that's the biggest key. You got to have a depth to your sound, and so okay. Vicky says, is the first YouTube posted in our group? No, it isn't. So the Hereditary soundtrack. Remind me, I definitely got to post that in the group for anybody who's doing one of these tracks for our album in the masterclass group. I will post that in our group. So yeah, that's a good one. I'll post this on the replay as well, so you guys make sure you can see that. Coming back to Stan's question, I do get these placed a lot because they need stuff like this. How many times, even in CSI Miami or CSI New York, whatever it is, there's always crime investigative stuff. And so I, no kidding, probably have over 250, 300 of these kind of tracks out there. They just get used a lot, and so yeah, so it's definitely a genre that's once you know how to do it, it's pretty cool. It seems like every place always needs more of it, and so a lot of the time what they do is the publishers will ask, hey, we want the new batch, we want a new album, or we want a new batch of drone tension or whatever it is, and they want that new stuff, the new sounds and the new things that you're playing with. And so yeah, good question. Okay, so we've copied this one. Now I go over here. This is what I use. Now your DAW might already have this. This is actually by Waves. I have Sound Shifter graphic stereo. That's what I use. Now there's lots of pitch shifting things you can are out there. So you just find what works for you. And so what I'm actually just doing in here is I'm just going to actually, yeah, I'll go here. I'm just going to pitch it up and down. So I've got to analyze it first. And then I think it's you double click on the line, and that will give you your first pitch. You can go up that. So if I go, so I can kind of move that up and down in pitch. Now, I just put a bunch of different pitches in there. I'm going to change it. I'm trying not to get it to go too high. I only want it to go around that. No, definitely no more than no more than a semitone, no more than a tone for sure. That would be I think it would just be it'd be too out there, and I think it might be too much. So I think just a gradual slight one. It's almost like you don't hear it. And for anybody who's not musical, I bet you they don't hear it. They just feel tension. You know, for us musicians, we're hearing it and we're like, whoa, what are they doing? They're going up in pitch. Is something going wrong there with the instruments? But for anybody else who's they don't hear it, they just feel tension, like it's getting more intense. So that's why these are really, really cool. So let me just play that again. Yeah, so that's the only thing. So that goes back down if I. Oh, actually, that doesn't matter because this is the whole track. So let's render this one in place. The problem that I didn't like about the other one, it went back down, and I had to match the exact note that it went back down. But this should work better. All right, so in the you guys will see I played around with a little bit of my Minilog, I should say, XD, which is an analog synthesizer. That's what this channel here is. And what I did at the end is I actually pitched it down, and I thought it was cool at the time, but I don't like it, so I'll just play it. I'm actually going to mute that out, so you'll hear it go down. Yeah, I don't like how I pitched that down, so I'm going to stop that wherever that is. All right, so, and I'm just going to do a really vicious little cut here and just duplicate that, but it's drenched in reverb, and so I think that will actually be okay. Let's just see, make sure that we've got fades on those. On Pro Tools, if you hit F, it does these little tiny fades. Whatever that is, your shortcut in your DAW, you're always going to make sure there's a fade here, else you'll get pops, little clicks. So I have to make sure I fade that last one out too. That one should be there already. Okay, so let's have a listen, see if that's okay. Yep, I didn't even hear anything, so that's great. Alright, so I don't like how that cymbal's coming in. What I'm going to do is I think I'm going to get one of these other hits I've got here. And I'm just going to drench it in a ton of reverb and that goes for a long time. And I think we'll reverse that. I might even take off some of that attack. And what I did there is I'm going to take off some of the highs because I don't want the clarity of it. I really want just a feeling of a crescendo up and then goes down. I just don't want that. I just don't want a clean. I don't want it to sound like it's a cymbal. I want to keep it kind of electronic and keep it. So I'm just going to actually make a bit more lows come through, and the tail is going to go for a while. So we'll see this. Wouldn't be surprised if it goes out to there. So I'm just going to see how that goes. Yep, so I'm just going to commit that little track there. So you can see a long tail that comes out there. And now I'm just going to reverse that. Delete the other one. So now I've got a long tail as it brings out to the end there. I might actually have to reverse that back and do a tail out of it. Okay, that one's got a little bit too much. This one's got a bit too much attack. I don't want to hear that big clap part on that this hit. It's a little bit too clear. I want to take out some of that, maybe 2.5, somewhere around there. Maybe it's 3.5. Maybe I'll just take out all of that. Might be too much. Let's just have a listen. Yeah, I like that. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. And this low one, I like this low one. But even that's got a little bit too much high on it. Let's. No, I still need that attack. Yeah. All right, so that's a lot better. Okay, so let's go back to. I wanted to add one more element in here. Another Omnisphere pad, something maybe a little higher, because I got a bit of low stuff happening. Maybe just something a little higher. Paul asks, does anyone know the Logic shortcut for fades, like what Steve just did? Great question. Great question. Yes, I don't know, but that's actually a great one to YouTube as well, because being able to do those fades over sections like that is really, really cool. I use that a lot. Like, especially if I cut, let's just say I cut all these effects here or these sounds here, I can just push the shortcut. So yes, absolutely. See if you can find that one out if anybody knows that, or good old Google help. Kindra says, I think I'll finally have use for my weird thunder instrument. Yes, absolutely. Reaper automatically has fades at the beginning of each track. That's very cool. That's really cool. And I guess you could adjust that. I think Studio One also has a setting as well that has that already done. And you know what? There might be something with Pro Tools as well. I'd have to find out, but at the moment it's a manual thing. All right, so now over here I have the same sound here. That one is going up in pitch the whole time and the other one is not. So you'll hear this tension here. Wonder if you can see it. One's going to go up. I don't know if you can hear it. One's going up and the other one's staying there. See, it's very slight. You can see the harmonics here going up to 200 and 210 or 230. This one's staying still. Can you guys see that? So gradual. Can you guys hear that getting tense up there now? So that's just a simple, more of a sine kind of wave. It's not a sine wave. I forget what sound. I think I used Serum for that sound. Is that harmonic distortion causing the jitter in the sound, or is there something else in the sample? It probably was me putting that plug-in on. When I put the plug-in, I went, so I think it happened 2 times, right? When I put the plug-in on. Yep, so that's pretty much, it should be just one simple, pretty much sine wave through the whole thing. It's pretty much just it's doing the same thing. So Kindra says, yeah, you can feel the tension. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So it's a good little trick to create that tension, is just go off the note a little bit and you're just going up a little bit. So let's create one more sound. I just want to have a listen a little bit further back to see what else I need. I don't think I need much more. Oh, yes, I know what I wanted. I'm going to find some sort of guitar-y kind of thing. I'm not going to use this actually. I'm going to use some sort of guitar-y thing, something that's like, but I don't want to pull out my guitar, so I'm going to try and do something else that has a kind of sound like that. If you don't have Omnisphere, Omnisphere is a little bit more expensive. I think it's $450 or something. But it's so powerful, especially for these tension kind of cues. So good. Now you can use it you can do other stuff as well, but Omnisphere is pretty awesome, I'll tell you that. Actually, let's just go here to guitars. That might sound okay. Let me see. That might sound alright. What I want to do is just a heavily dun 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 dun, which I'm just going to do an arpeggiato of something. Not that. That is cool, but not for this song. I'm just going to draw it in. Let's do 8. So I'm just going to do that dun 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 dun. See if that sounds like it's set on 8s right now. I don't think I need 16s, but I might be playing 16. Let me just make them a little shorter. I was just playing with the mod wheel there. Okay, so let's or the pitch wheel. All right, so we're just going to add those in there. Okay, so I think that delay is getting in the way a bit. I just want to, let me print that down to stereo. Especially when I'm doing these pitch shifting things, I want to make sure that I can see a little bit more of what's going on inside the track. Stan asked a question, do the hits get in the way of the dialogue? Is that why you cut the high? It's a good question. Not necessarily. It's just as with this track, like, yes, that is something to watch out for around those frequencies, 2.5, 3.5K up around there. That's right around the dialogue. So yeah, you got to watch that. But if they're low enough in the mix compared to the other elements in the song, you can get away with a lot of stuff. But the reason why I wanted that hit, I just don't want that hit to be shiny. I don't want it to be light. I just want it to be mean and down low and just like real kind of like just moving your chest and just like I just don't want as much high though. I just don't need that clarity. I'd rather things of because if you think of tension, you think of horror movies. None of it is in the daylight, you know. None of it's in the daylight. It's in the murky, dark, foggy, unclear, all of that, you know. And any tension in our life is because of you know, usually things aren't clear. If it's clear, it's like, it's a bright sunny day, I feel good because everything's clear. And so it kind of has all of those emotions in it where it's like, I don't want the clarity. I just want like, what was that? What was that noise? Or what was that? I'm not sure, you know. So you want those kind of elements of without the clarity overall. But then you're going to also be facing, as we start mixing, you're going to face too much stuff in the low. So you got to make sure you pick which instruments you want down low and which ones you want. You know, and you've seen me, I think over here I was cutting some lows there because I don't want any of that. This one's a higher sound that I want. I don't want any of that low, so I'm cutting a lot of that low. I might even go more on that. But that's the main reasons for these ones. Oh, good. Thanks, Paul. Paul Google just told him Logic Pro, Advanced Tools, General Editing. Okay, so that's great for any Logic users. Thank Paul. He just found a really cool shortcut that would probably save you, I would say, an hour of your life every year, maybe more, probably more. So awesome. If you're on Logic, check that out. So what I might do now is I'm going to add a delay, and I'm going to automate some delay doing 16. So it's going to go dun 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 dun. But I'm going to automate them, see if I can do it a little bit more randomly. Let's just go to a delay. Alright, so to automate some of this feedback and maybe the volume. So you just go over here to automate. So that's the dry wet. Click up here on automation and dry wet we're looking for. Maybe it's not tethered. Dry wet 100%. That's what I think. Oh, I don't know where it is. Maybe it's the output. No, it's not the output. Analog, dry wet. It's got to be the mix. It's the same. They should have tiled that different, but it is the mix because you're mixing of how much you want in it. But anyway, so we'll complain waves later. All right, and I might do a little bit of feedback. No, I won't do the feedback. I'll just I'll just keep it simple. So all these little elements that we're doing now of these fades, of these automation, is really creating air and breath in the track, and it makes your track just that much more special than the next person's. It's not just thrown together. You've thought about all of these elements. So I want this to kind of fade in and out. So I don't want it to be a constant eighth dun 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 the whole time. I want it to go dun 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 dun, and it sounds like it's got some doubling happening, or 16s as together. I want it to breathe and move, because that's what that's what's gonna separate these kind of. This is just the little bells and whistles that really adds. So I'm just gonna go to the automation here, and I don't even have a clue. I'm gonna randomize it. I'm just gonna pull it up. So you saw the wet and dry go up there. Let's just put a few little things in here. We'll see if these sound good. And this is, let's go down. We're just kind of randomizing this to see what it is, because you're going to see what I'm about to do with this track here. I might go more at the end. And it looks like it's actually finished there anyway. Now we're actually going to just to do a big volume on this, so it's not even going to hardly come in until the end half of the song. That's not distorted enough for me, so let's put some more distortion on it. Let's try something different that I don't often use. Well, maybe we just add a. Let's try that. Angry growler beat. Let's see what this sounds like. This says F sharp, so I wonder what that means. let's do it. I'm not happy with that either. Let's see if anyone else has got some other sound toys. There's Always Works Decapitator. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, that's more of the sound I want. Yeah, Vicky says loves the little berserk alien. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's great, especially when they go on sale. You can just pick up a bunch of these weird little things and try them out, see if it works for a track, and especially sometimes you just want something different than what you always go to. So, but awesome guys. I think we're gonna start kind of wrapping this one up. So let's. Over here you'll hear there's kind of a higher ambient thing. I think I'm going to get this to come in a little sooner. Can you guys hear that ambient? It's really low, I know. It's really low, but I might bring that up in volume a bit more. So I just want to make sure I'm cleaning up some of this stuff. These siren kind of things, I don't need any low end, so I'm just going to get rid of a lot of low end here. If there's any in there. What's that? Not much. Those are all the same sounds, so I just copied and pasted that. So they'll build up. If you can see that, it comes in here, it's like, I don't know, it's like -20, but you keep adding that up and it starts to get into your, it just adds up. So you can have a listen. See, look at that. Look at that there. Cutting it out again. Cutting it out again. It all adds. Oh, the other thing I wanted to do is a pan on this other, I wanted to do kind of a pan on this other one so it kind of changes a little bit. Pans left to right. hit should be one more over on that beat. So I'm hearing a little click or a little pop where something's not. It could be that one there. That's right. No, it's right. This one here. Okay, so I need to just extend that out a little bit. Cool, let me delete a couple of these sounds. Okay, so how I organize this when I mix them is I kind of go to the percussion or hits, try to put all that together in the same spot. So these are all my hits. This says high sound. It actually should be on hits. Where are my hits? So those hits, I'm just going to color them so I know where they are. And then down here, this is a side chain kick. Don't have to worry about that. Now I do have this higher ambient sound that's going to a subgroup called higher sounds. This is the MIDI. I can hide that. This is the strings, which is the analog Korg. And then ear candy I put up there near the drums. Is this a low drone? That's fine. Let's delete that. Cool. Okay, so I think we're pretty much getting. We're getting really close here. Any other questions? I want that attack to be a little less. That's better. Yeah, I'm hearing the other attack. This one. That's cool. I think I like that. Yes, who's gonna sleep well tonight? Lucky for my Aussie buddies. It's starting the day, but yep. That's it. It's those simple little noises. The creaking of the leaves outside or a branch outside. Scott says, what's the objective of what you're tweaking here now? I'm not sure all the annoyances stuff is coming through the Zoom. Yeah, you're probably absolutely right. You're probably not hearing some of these tiny things because I believe still Zoom is mono. When you guys are hearing, I think it's still in mono. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you guys are hearing this all in mono. So what I'm doing now is I was mostly EQing because, as I said a little earlier, that one of the problem is you're constantly trying to get these lower sounds, and then when you start to mix, you have a ton of all this low stuff. So you really have to kind of pick and choose what you want to be heard and what you don't want some of that low stuff. And so what I was mostly doing there was EQing the tracks and getting a little bit of a volume. These tracks here, and they shouldn't be in the hits subgroup. That should be in the let me just see here. That's the higher stuff, so that should be into the subgroup going higher sounds. So what I'm trying to do here is just kind of like get stuff out of the way and kind of like just have things that are weaving together. So I do that a lot with EQ. I did a little bit of panning just a minute ago, and then I did a little bit of automation. So what I was just doing the last few minutes was just quickly EQing stuff, making sure stuff was out of the way frequency wide. It looks like I've got a lot of buildup of, if I play down here, you can kind of see one of these EQs. You can see I've got a lot of buildup around 150, anywhere I think between 150 and 500. Yep, so there's a lot of energy down here. See, there's a lot of energy around here, so I'm trying to I want to balance out the mix. I want there to be as much balance as I can. Now I know a lot of the track kind of is going to be sitting around here because just the start I made those decisions. I don't want to as much high stuff, but right now I just want to balance it a little bit more, and so it's not all the same frequency coming through us. It's going to be so loud and distorted, and I'm not going to have a balance, and I'm not going to have clarity. So that's the constant battle with this kind of stuff when you're laying all that low mid-range stuff. That's kind of the battle that you kind of have. So we'll keep going here. if you guys noticed, I noticed on my headphones, and it's hard to mix on headphones for me because I'm used to my speakers here, but just by turning down that, I found out what instrument had a ton of that frequency in it, and it was the analog one. Instead of adjusting the EQ, I actually just pulled it down a little bit in the level. I think it's under the strings one, and so I pulled down the level a bit, and that just made it a little bit cleaner. So that was nice. Like if I go back. So what I'm doing here is just doing a little bit of MS EQing on my master channel. So this is something really cool, and you don't have to get the Amex. I like it's a new plugin I got, and I really like it actually. But they have something called the Mono Maker, which is really cool. So from anything, looks like I've got it set on 175, 150, 160, somewhere around there. Everything comes out the center, which is really cool. And then over here on the highs, I just tap a little bit, +5, so not even 1 dB on the stereo field or on the stereo. So or the sides, I should say. And then I'm only adding, I think it's 5.2. I wonder if this goes bigger. No. Oh yeah, it does. There we go. Can you guys see that now? There we go. So so I've got like a 5.2. I was just listening to that second there just to make sure it's nice. I don't want to add too much, but I just want to give it that little extra sparkle, which makes it sound a little bit wider. And then over here, I'm just taking out a little bit of the center as well, almost doubling what I'm doing here, meaning it nearly does the same thing on 11K out of the middle or the mid. I will I'm pulling out, I think it's -1 dB of 11K out of the middle section. So it just makes it a little bit more just a little bit cleaner or clearer for this, and I'll bypass it as well so you can see. Well, actually, you guys aren't going to be able to hear the sides, I don't think, so it does make it a little clearer. And I have a little preset. When I get a plugin, I watch some tutorials and kind of figure out how they've built it, and then I save a beginning setting, and then I tweak it from there. And so that's kind of what I do with a lot of the new plugins I buy. So now we have this thing's really cool. I haven't dialed it in too much, but I do have a plain setting that's just a few little tweaks. It's very minimal, and so I'm running that through my master channel as well. Excellent plugin, love it. Love to get the actual hardware, but it's about 10 grand, so we'll see. So the good thing about getting a mastering thing is, although it's only working in percentages, like 3% better or 2% better, you can put it on all your mixes. That's what I like. So it doesn't matter if you're doing a guitar one or if you're doing a tension one, you can put it on all your mixes. And this is just my standard limiter, which is you've seen me work this a lot. It's very simple, and I just pull down the threshold. I've already got this dialed into what I like on most tracks. And what else? My standard Pug Child, was based off the Fairchild, and the Bax is really cool, and the MX, that's really cool. I like that too. So anyway, let's keep going. I do have a few questions here. Scott says, I could see the EQ process, but didn't know what you were going for. Yep, absolutely. Yep, got that. Are these mastered to the same volume as songs would be? Yes and no. It's a good question, Stan. I would probably say no. You don't mix them to that same level, but you do want it at that good level. So when I'm coming in here, I'm watching my meters, especially this master meter, and it needs to be 75, 80, 90. It just has to be, or else something sounds wrong with the track. especially when we're starting off at zero. Let's see what it starts off. Yeah, so what I was just doing there, I was just pulling down a few of these sounds. I already know what they were. This is the ambient sound. I could hear a little bit too much of that, so I was just putting down some levels. These are automations, so they're kind of moving. They're going up and down. Lots of automation, as you can see. I wouldn't be surprised if pretty much every channel has automation on it. But there's only a handful of sounds here. 1, 2, 3. That's a copy. 3. I guess you could say 2, and there's 3. These are kind of copies. 3, 4, 5, 6, and some ear candy, reverse cymbals, and some stuff. There's only 6 or 7 actual sounds, and then I just kind of double them and tweak them a little bit. But I think that we can go for a bounce. Let's. I know my ears are ready for a bounce, and then of course I always come back to it again tomorrow and listen to the MP3 and be like, oh, okay, wow, this is too loud, that's too much, and so let's have a listen to this fade. Make sure this fade is good. This is what mastering does. Yep, I'm happy with that one. And let's go to the beginning. I kind of actually start coming straight in, but so actually if I zoom in, it actually doesn't start till there. So actually I probably should go like this. I might actually add this ambient thing at the beginning as well. I think that's pretty cool. I like that. It's kind of going up a bit. All right, cool. I know. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the beginning the beginning is pretty quiet. So, all right. Let's bounce this one. Okay, so what are we going to call it? Drone Horror MPR 22236 number? No, we're going to call it We're going to call it In the Walls. Something's in the walls. Maybe sounds in the walls. Maybe a little clearer of exactly. I think that's good. All right, let's bounce it down. Sound in the walls. There we go. Sounds in the walls. There we go. Cool. There we go. First mix. There you go, guys. Okay, so about an hour and 15 in, kind of mixing it and tweaking it. And let me take these off. So there we go. It's always a little harder, I think, for you guys to actually hear the exact of it, because I don't think Zoom's the best. Hopefully Zoom will somehow they get better, or correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are only hearing that in mono, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. So hopefully one day they'll upgrade that or change that, or maybe I can find out a system. It's bound, might even be out there now where I can kind of give you guys more high definition audio, so you can actually hear exactly what the stuff I'm doing on your system. But until we get that, then you'll just be like, keep tweaking it, keep making those sounds, and yeah. But this one's a good one. These get used a lot, and hopefully you guys learn a couple little tips or a couple of things, and hopefully you guys can see too that part of the big anyone can do this. Once you get some of those things tweaking, part of it is just showing up and doing another one. And I was talking to a buddy of mine this week that it's like he was saying, oh, I'm really going to do this. I really want to do this, and I said, well, you know what to do, and you just show up. You just schedule that 1 hour if it is, or maybe it's half an hour every single day before you do anything else. You just turn up and you write another cue, and of course you try and make it as best as you can. And maybe it takes you 1 week to get one. That's fine. That's like maybe 5 hours worth. These ones take me about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, I guess. Because I really want to make sure that I've really crafted them. But maybe that's fast or maybe that's short. It all depends on where you're at. So don't worry too much about that. You just show up every day and you work towards that new track. So really cool, guys. Kindra says I'm hearing on my phone, but there's an original sound button on computer. Okay, cool. Okay. All right, cool. Paul asks, how many of these do you put on an album for a library? Oh, I missed that. Stan must have asked that earlier. Good question. Probably an album like this I'd call Stranger Things Drone Tension. And even though it hasn't got 100, it hasn't got, in my opinion, as I said earlier, it wouldn't maybe be 100%. Oh, that sounds exactly like the theme from Stranger Things, but I think the idea is there. I can still hear this under Stranger Things kind of ideas. So I'd put probably about 15 to 20 of these on an album easily. And these ones you can definitely kind of do, the next one could be drone tension, electronic drone tension, or organic drone tension. There's so many different genres of these kind of things. It's good to have that drone in there. It's just that one kind of tone the whole time, and you just got to, the hardest part is you got to create those changes, the ear candy and all that. So awesome, guys. Well, any other questions, or should I let you go and enjoy the rest of your Sunday or Monday? Awesome. All right, cool. Stan says, is there a suggested outlet? Absolutely. The first outlet is if you're in my masterclass. We're doing an album, so you got the go ahead. Let's go for this. So you got an album of these, and then you could look up, first of all, two things for anybody watching the replay who's maybe not in the masterclass. Two things. You can go to apmmusic.com and you can actually see who has drone tension, and you can approach them and say, it will be a cold call, but you can approach them and say, hey, I've got some drone tension. I notice you've got an album of that. Would you like more? Or you can find a publisher that doesn't have much drone tension, and you can tell them, hey, I've written a couple of these drone tension cues. Is that something you'd be interested in? And send that out to a bunch, and you'll probably get a lot of no's or hear a lot of crickets, and then you'll hear some, you might get a few yeses, and so that's a great way to do it. And but yep, let's get to work. If you're in the masterclass, get that whip out. Come on, come on. We're gonna do an album. So they're pretty easy, as I said, and these are really cool. So all right, guys, I'm gonna let you go, and have a great rest of your day.